Hello Chipsters, it's me Gav and welcome to another one of my videos. Just bear with me as I put this box down. As you'll see by the title of today's video, it's an unboxing of a 1 in 72 scale kit that I've bought recently. It's one that I've wanted to make and have a look at for a number of years really. And it's this. Let's see if I can pronounce it. It's a Landweser Schlepper. To all my German friends, I apologise if I've just destroyed your language yet again. It's an amphibious tracked tug, more or less, and they were used for mainly working in rivers, estuaries, things like that, helping to move unpowered barges and pushing bridging equipment into place, things like that. It could carry up to about 20 passengers. Not particularly, I believe, in a there weren't seats in there. They're really Spartan inside, but it could fit 20 people in. It had a limited capacity for cargo. It was used obviously in wet areas for taking cargo, and for taking cargo maybe off a small lighter right up the beach and further inland, things like that. But it didn't have a great area for loading, if that makes sense. It didn't have a flat deck particularly. It's mainly there really to push and pull things into place really, and have the benefit of tracks so it could move around different environments. It's got a couple of propellers at the back. It's unarmoured. Yes, it's steel, but I don't even whether it'd take a rifle round. I'm not sure, but it's got no armour, and or especially in this version anyway, and it's got no machine guns or anything like that. It purely is a nice little workhorse, and I quite enjoy these type of vehicles. They're a bit different, and they give you a lot of opportunities to do bits and pieces on them. So if we go down at the bench, we'll take a look at this. As I say, it's a nice little kit. I've opened the bags and had a look myself, but I thought I'd show you guys what's involved. This kit cost me off eBay £12 with the postage, so I didn't think that was bad at all. So join me at the bench, guys, and we'll have a quick look at this new kit. Right, guys, thanks for joining me at the bench. This is as far as as much as I can get this box in. I never said before, it's from Hobby Boss. Again, the scale is 1 in 72. It's an amphibious tractor tug, and it's obviously like a boat with tracks. So I think the first thing we'll do is, if I can get my camera to actually hit the deck, we'll go from the bottom up. So we'll look at the tracks. Yes, they're one piece, so for all those people that don't want to mess too much, you've got a bit of a bonus there. Now, it's fairly simple, and as you can see by earlier artwork on the box, it's a fairly simple design. Obviously you've got the leaf springs, which are on the another piece, which I'll show you in a minute. I don't see there's too much wrong in that. Obviously you cut your bits of sprue off there, but on the whole I can't see anything wrong with that whatsoever. As I say, in real life it's a fairly simple design. Obviously it's just, you want the more boat aspect of it, I suppose, more than the self-propelled bit, so it hasn't got super wide tracks or anything like that. And this was actually made, or the prototypes were put down in 1935. You often see them said that they were built for Operation Sea Lion, for the invasion of Britain, but it was the designs were laid down in 35. So my own opinion, it really is just a German engineering pioneering vehicle that happens, that could have been pressed into service at some form or another on an invasion. But yeah, these tracks are fine. nothing wrong with those at all, and the other one's exactly the same, so there's no point in showing you that. And we've got the sides of the lower tracked part of the vehicle. You see the leaf springs are on there nicely. Nice big locating lugs. I'll take it, there's a nice bit of detail work there. Some rivets, so that's probably going to be exposed. Obviously all done in this sandy coloured plastic. There's no, there doesn't seem to be a massive amount of mould release agent on or anything like that. Can't see. Let's go a bit closer. I can't see any depressions or anything like that. Any little sink marks. It is a very simple kit. You know, you're not looking at if you want a simple build, especially if you're going to do it straight out of the box. It's obviously like most 1 in 72 kits. There's not a lot to it. Here's the main sprue with our, as you can guess, the boat shape. As Gav destroys everything. Right, so that's our boat. These are the drums, I believe, for the winch. There would have been a winch, which isn't included in this. There would have been a winch somewhere around there, and the door here, this is what this locating hole's for here. That piece there, I believe, swivels out, and you can put your winch straight out the back. I believe. There's not a lot of. There are a couple of books out there, but I mean, I can't buy a book for everything that I build. So I'm only going on what I've seen interior shots of either built 1 in 35 scale versions of this, or the very few wartime photographs that are there. Again, very tiny bits of flash like on the props here, but there's not a lot. You know, you wouldn't be worried about those. This is our hook at the back, which I was just about to point at the box, but you can't see it at the moment. But we'll go over that again in a bit, because there's a couple of things I want to show. But yeah, that's part of the towing device. There's like a bracing piece at the back, and you obviously clip your hawser on there and pull things or whatever you wanted to pull. This funnel type effort, I believe. What I've seen on box art of the 1 in 35 scales, this was actually like a bit of a conning tower, I suppose. Not that this can go underwater, obviously, but the later version had 3, I believe. 2 at the back and the one in the centre front that this is. So I believe that as I say, I've seen people putting little blokes in there, you know, as if they're conning the vehicle, so I take it that's what it is. This is the bracing piece for that hook to go on. You have to be fairly substantial. Usual searchlights and driving lights. It has got as well on the cab, which I'll show in a minute, it's got some port and starboard running lights as well for when it's in the water. These are the the rudders. Rudders is the word I'm after. Now, if we're looking at the simplicity of we'll go on the inside first. What my plans are, I was just going to build this straight out of the box, but you know what it's like. The more you see pictures, the more you want to do things, and especially as I've got a really low skill level. So I don't know why I do it to myself, really. But the pictures I've seen, either built again 1 in 35 scale or wartime photographs. Again, I haven't seen many of those, but I've seen 2 or 3. It's got 3 seats along here, because this had a crew of between 2 and 5. And it's got 3 seats along here, very basic seats. It's got a steering wheel, and I presume that would be for when it's a boat. And it's got the usual levers for locking the tracks and obviously driving it as a tracked vehicle, and a couple of foot pedals there. On this side, it's got I believe a radio I might be wrong, but I believe there's a radio here. And that's really about it. You know, there's not a lot there. There's obviously a few conduits and pipes that go down there, and I could do something with that as well. So my plan is to scratch build that little front piece there. I can't, even for my skill level, I can't see it being overly problematical. You can see here where, let's just turn it over again. Oh, you can't see it's in a boat. It's obviously where it's being pushed in. There's a slight raised bit there. I don't know if we can sand that down or not, or we'll have to disguise it. These would normally, from what I've seen again of wartime ones, be like square deck panels, so which you could probably lift up. So I might look to doing something on, like, even if I just paint them in, I don't know yet, but we'll sort that out as well. So this here is normally a rounded like pipe up to that, I presume, up to the, I mean, it could well be like a, obviously not a funnel as such, because it's a Maybach 12 cylinder petrol engine in these, but I believe it is just some type of device that they can go and stand in. But on the real thing, there is a, you know, like a rounded pipe there, you know, so I'm going to have to probably manufacture something like that. And looking at that, where that is, that might, you could get away probably of positioning there's a hand winch there, and I'm thinking you could probably get away with putting that winch on top of that maybe. This is obviously shut off as a bulkhead where that door is. I'd have that shut off. On the back here you've got some grills there. I wouldn't go to the expense of buying in photo etch for it. I haven't got any that type of thing, so I'd probably just try and pick that out with a wash. The only thing that there's a couple of things on the outside. You'll see one last look at the artwork in a minute, and you'll see like a grill effort. I'm not sure if that's the exhausts or the you know, if it's for cooler air or not. I'm not too sure, to be honest with you, but there's like a load of holes, more or less. It's almost like it's been drilled in the side, and that's not replicated at all on the side, and it's quite a, you know, you can see it as a feature. So I'm not sure what to do with that at all yet, but I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Also, and what I've seen on people's reviews of the bigger kits, and I'm not sure if it's Hobby Bosses or what, you know, on the 1 in 35 scale kits, but there's a big rope, like bulwark, that goes around the side, and that obviously is for when they're bumping and pushing things into place. So I'd probably have to get the old epoxy putty out there, and, you know, make a rope effort that goes around the outside. So that's the hull, you know, the hull and the boat shape, if you want to put it that way. Again, we'll just have a squiz over. Let's have a look at the back as well first. There's the back. Obviously props and that'll go down in there. I imagine actually they'd be probably exhausts at the back. But yep, that's the main sprue, if you want to call it. And let's have a look at the top part, the cabin, if you want to, I suppose you call it cabin. There's the running lights for port, you know, the red and green. Got a couple of wipers there, quite well defined. I'm undecided yet if I'm doing that work. The reason I decided to do that work on the inside is it's got you know, some quite big glazed areas, and yes, it's going to be probably dark and that, but it does lend itself to you know, doing a bit of work on the inside. So we've got our cast on life rings here. I often see them, and it's depicted as a red and white one in the box art, and I see sometimes people painting them. But again, my own idea was, whenever you look at wartime photographs, you know, you don't have a complete camouflaged or at least one tone painted vehicle and then have a bright red and white you know, life raft, you might have it in this, or life belt, you might have it in, you know, when it's not in the wartime. But I'll be painting those whatever colour I decide to paint the vehicle. I'm going to make sure. I'm just trying to see if there's. It doesn't seem to be any. There's rivets around the outside of the on the box art. Oh, it is. Yep, some tiny little rivets there. That's great. So I don't have to do anything with that. I'm not sure what these. There's two on either side, and I'm not sure what they actually are for. I've not seen anything to show me. At first, I almost thought they were like spirit levels. But no, I don't know what they're for. These are for the anchor. Normally you see the rope wrapped around either side and then up to this anchor here. There's not a lot of depth in those, but I'm not sure I'd want to try and make it any different, so I'll probably just get a couple of thin pieces of copper wire and wrap those round. I mean, in wartime photographs, and obviously people have copied them, I suppose. In the 1 in 35s, I've seen rubber dinghies tied to the tops of these, and you know, all sorts of things just to make them look a bit different. I'd have to decide whether I was going to open one of these hatches or both these hatches. I'll stick it together, you know, dry fit it together, and just see what I'm hoping, you know, what I can see of the interior. Because I'm not the greatest yet. As I say, I've only done that T28 so far, and I can't claim to get the hatches completely square with those. So, you know, it's a bit of a challenge if I do that, but I might still do it. And then obviously this back piece is open until you actually reach the bulkhead part here. It's a bit dirty here with some type of, obviously something's come out of the mould, so we'll have to clean that off before I do anything with it. Got some sink marks in here. Again, you would say you probably wouldn't see them, but and obviously you've got all the manufacturing data stamped right on the underneath. That's helpful. So I might clean those off. Nice big locating areas for that bulkhead as well. That's good, because I can never get anything in a straight line. And then on the sides, as I say, it's fairly basic. You know, there's nothing in the real machine. You know, there's a couple of conduits, pipes that go down the inside, and there's a couple of. They even look like almost like ammo boxes that have like machine gun ammo boxes that have been used for different things. Probably not. They probably are. You know, been put on at the place of manufacture. So that's our top. Oh, the other thing that's quite noticeable on the photographs and on the box art, but not on here again, is there's a small like railing that goes around the top. Not to stop people falling off, it's just for machinery, that type of thing. Now whether they've tried to replicate that there, I'm not 100% sure whether that would be on the real thing and the railings would be above. So I've got to look into that. I would say that that's their idea of giving you a, yeah, because they've got a couple of little lumps there. I think that's their idea of a railing. And I'd have to decide whether I take that off and put a wire one round or leave it on. Sometimes I think my skill levels are better than this is a second 1 in 72 scale model. I'm already saying, well, I'll chop this off, take this out. So yeah, we'll cross that bridge again when we come to it. I'm not going to get the clear parts out the bags, so scratching them. They are what they are. They're you know, they are you know, tank ones, so it's not as important to be as clear as it would be, I suppose, on an aircraft. And again, one piece, a bit like airliners, you know, where you just stick them all in. It's just good enough for me. So yep, those are the clear parts. I won't get the decals out out the bag, you've just got the two large numbers, and I presume you can actually make up numbers. I don't know. These guys here sit on the front of the bow. These little white bits here, and I've seen the whether that's where you actually put the how much load is on it, or how heavy the vehicle is. I'm not sure, because I have seen them with hand painted tonnage marks on the front. Again, I'm not fussed about it, I'm not going to get these out the bag, and they can stay nice and safe. They are what they are. There's not there's not going to be a lot of things you can say about that. I'll quickly, if I move the box art out of the way for a moment. We'll see if we can get these in shots. I don't know if it will work. Again, I'm always struggling for space and that, so it's going to work, is it? Really simple. I can't get this any better, guys, but it's obviously really simple. But if we start at the beginning, so telling you what you've got on your sprues. Obviously, basic makeup of the vehicle. It is a very, even for me, if I wasn't going to be doing bits and pieces, it's an extremely simple kit to put together. As you can see, obviously everything just in normal black and white. The versions it's got, it doesn't actually say what the versions are. It just says 1 and 2. Now the box art shows it in like that could just be the normal Dunkelgelb, but they were used. I know that I've seen a couple of photographs of them being used in Tobruk, and I believe the Germans destroyed at least one when they had to abandon Tobruk. So you can do it in desert camo, but desert spray over, I suppose, of whatever colour, Dunkelgelb or whatever, I don't know. Sorry, that's my camera falling over. But there's not actually, it doesn't actually say. Sandy brown, colours are sandy brown, steel, tyre black, red, clear red, silver and white. So that would tell you that they either both North Africa paint schemes, or they're at least Dunkelgelb. But I fancied doing mine in the early war grey, invasion of Barbarossa. I would think that with all the water courses, marshes and things like that that they had to encounter in the invasion of the Soviet Union, that they would have been there in the early stages, and that it would probably be in grey rather than the later war, camouflage type of Dunkelgelb and green and things like that. So I'm going to take a punt, and I have seen them in what appears to be dark grey. So I'm going to take a punt that they would have gone to war. They were definitely in dark grey for the when they had them over on obviously the Channel coasts when Sea Lion were they going to try and invade? Were they not? And you see them actually practicing on the beaches, and you can see some of the houses of that type of area. So it's on the Channel coast, and they're in dark grey then. So I can't see why, along with every other vehicle, they wouldn't have been dark grey when the Operation Barbarossa. So I'm going to do mine in grey, I think. Whether I do a diorama with it, I don't know. There's a couple of other little things I'm going to be doing to it as well to go alongside the vehicle. I'm just practicing my skills at the moment, and I'll show more of that if I can actually do it. So guys, this is the 1 in 72 scale trumpeter. Let's go back to the box art yet again. It's the 1 in 72 scale trumpeter Landwasser Schlepper. Interesting looking vehicle, not massively warlike apart from it's on tracks. So if you like things festooned with armaments, I'm afraid this one isn't for you. But if you like something just a little bit different, bit of character to it, so far I would thoroughly recommend it. Obviously I've not built it, I can't see anything there that would be particularly challenging, apart from obviously the things that I might well be doing to it as I go along. So thanks a lot for stopping by and taking a look at this unboxing. If you think the 1 in 35 scale T55 isn't happening, I can assure you it is, and there is a video finally coming up for that in the next day or two. I have been building away, but because it's quite involved and I'm only doing the odd hour here and there on it, it's just taken a while to. I just didn't want to show you two little tiny pieces type of thing, and that was it. So I wanted to get a tiny bit of progress in there, so it looks a bit more interesting to talk about. So that is coming. As I say, it is being worked on most evenings. So that's coming. But I wanted to do something smaller at the same time. I know, and painting figures at the same time. But I literally do this 7 days a week, so it's not a problem really. So guys, again, thank you very much for stopping by and taking a look. You take care of yourselves. I hope your kit building, your figure painting, and any other projects you're doing is going well for you. And we will see each other very, very soon on another video. Cheers.